of the Karika, Vaitatya Prakaranam, number 16, which we have done, and then 17 and 18 that we will do today. Jivam kalpayate purvam tato bhavan pritak vidhan bahya anadhyatmikans chaiva bahyan adhyatmikans chaiva yatha vidyas tatha smritihi Anishchita yatha rajjuhu andhakare vikalpita sarpadharadibhihi bhavaihi tadvat atma vikalpitaha Nishchitayam yatha rajvam Vikalpo vinivartate Rajjureveti chadvaitam Tadvad atma vinishchayaha. So the Karika is clarifying, it is explaining and making us understand that our current way of distinguishing between what is real meaning something which I have to be concerned with, which is going to be around, I have to fight it. That's the meaning of reality. Means I don't get bothered by things that are purely my own imagination, or I should not be bothered by things that are my pure imagination. But I do. But I do it with a kind of a false sense of reality. And what was pointed out earlier as we've been studying is that I find that things that are outside of me are real. And things that are inside my own imagination, even though I make a mess of things, but I can figure that out. They're not very real. It's okay. And so what Karika is pointing out is this is a false way for you to distinguish between reality and non-reality. In fact, both outside and inside are both false. And as we saw, just a revision, that an example of our dream experience is a very important one. Because even in the dream, we do make a distinction between outside and inside. As I gave you the example about the accident, that if you can say, I hope this doesn't happen to me, and it happens. So I hope that doesn't happen was just a kind of like your own thought. The dreamer is saying, I hope it doesn't happen. But it does happen, and you get injured in the process. This is all happening in the dream. So there is in fact a perceived distinction between reality and non-reality in the dream, based on inside-outside. But is it really true? Because it's not true, because both the inside and outside are nothing but an imagination. Both of them are gone. As soon as you wake up, the dreamer is gone, the dreamt is gone, the whole thing disappears. And so based on that example of the dream, we need to extend it with logic understanding with Shraddha that the same thing is happening in my waking state. The dream state is a good example. It's a starting point, but the Jagrat Avastha, we will have to do the same thing. So, at least proceed along the lines that the Shastra is pointing out in order to see that your sense of what is real and what is not real is not true. There is a Shastric sense of what is true, what is untrue, Atma, Anatma, Viveka, which we have to progress to. This is what we have to see. This is what the Karika is pointing out. And in doing so, one of the things it points out is, it is not true to say that I am only affected by real things. It is not true to say that. So that distinction is not true. Neither is it appropriate to say that if a thing looks real, it is real, and if it doesn't look real, it is not real. So let me give you the example of the latter concept. And that example I gave you is a badly made costume jewelry and a well-made costume jewelry. A badly made costume jewelry, that if you go to farmers markets and there's a trinket kind of a shop that is selling a thing for 5 cents. It's very light and you can tell it's not very good. That you can tell that it is false. It is not a true jewelry. Or you can go to Macy's. I would think so. And the women's department, they have a jewelry shop where they have beautiful trinkets with gold-plated trinkets and so on. And if you rub it with your hand, nothing comes off of it. And it's very heavy like gold. It looks exactly like this. And you can say, this is good, this is real. No. Only the golden jewelry is real. False golden jewelry, even it appears to be real, is not real. This is a concept we have to think about. The earlier concept is to say that I am only affected by real things and not by unreal things is also false. How? Think about going to a movie that moves you. In fact, you can be more affected by events from a movie than events in your own life. Supposing somebody is, you're going there and somebody gets knocked down on the street and you feel, I'm very sorry, but you move on. You're not affected by it. But supposing you go into a movie and there the whole plot is in such a way that you are very involved with identifying with the various characters. And if one of the characters gets injured, please check your eyes, you're going to cry. Tears are going to flow. You know that the movie is not real. But your identification with the characters makes it real. This is the primary message of the Karika, which is a commentary on the Mandukya Upanishad. And the Mandukya Upanishad is a commentary on you. Mandukya Upanishad is really a commentary on you because Mandukya Upanishad is not a text. Any Vedantic Upanishad is not just a text. Just like the mirror is not just a mirror. When the person you're looking at in the mirror is not a mirror, it is your own self. Similarly, the text of the Mandukya is your own image, and the Karika is an image of Mandukya. And so this is the way for us to really get deeper into our understanding of who we are, what's going on in that sense. So anyway, so this is what we have done so far. Okay. Now with verse number 17, and for a number of verses from now on, this is now sketched out at some detail. So let me give you an introduction to this, and then I think what we will do is probably not spend as much time with individual verses. I want to give you a grouping of it. There's a lot of interesting detail about how the imaginations of the mind plays tricks with us, because in effect what it is saying is, this is something that was pointed out in the Mandukya itself, that please do not think that the dream state and the waking state are two separate states with nothing to do with each other. This we have to really think about. This is the basic message of the Mandukya Upanishad. Because this is exactly what happens. We say, okay, that's done with, I had some dreams, that's done with, this doesn't affect me. My real life is this between 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 or at night. This is what I have to do. Mandukya says no. It's not the right way to look at it. The way you have to do that is that you have to see a number of things you have to see. One of them is that, as I said earlier, that the dream is a very important example, and you have to transport the totality of the dream experience into the waking experience, including the fact that it is possible to wipe out the entire experience of the dream by waking up. And similarly, it's possible to wipe out the entire waking experience while you're living, just like the dream. And just like the dream experience cannot touch you, you will find that the waking experience, all the sukha dukkha, etc. that you have in your life will be gone. This is what being said here. So it is not important to say that the dream is not proper to say that the dream is not important, because the whole thing is applicable to each other. Number one. Number two, even more important than that, please see that the definition of a dream applies to your waking state just as much. And this we have already done quite a bit of work on, and I'll remind you of it just now, but not go into detail. What this means is that the swapna avastha, the dream state, means an imagination of your mind. And your entire identity by being a samsari, being a victim of sukha dukkha, is nothing but an imagination of your mind. So in that sense also, the workings of your mind, as will be sketched out in more detail in a minute, is also like the dream, and therefore another way to look upon is that the whole experience that you have in your life is dreamlike. Dreamlike in the sense that it has no reality whatsoever. Just like a movie has no reality, but it can move you. That's okay. So this is the sense that the Karika is now going to establish in a very focused manner over a number of verses. And instead of going into the details of each of the verses, I'm going to take groupings of it and go a little faster, just because of the nature of the class and so on and so forth. Anyway, this is the beginning of a section. The section is defined by the word kalpana. So kalpana means your sense of imagining things, or your sense, how your mind works on you. This is what is being talked about. And in that sense, the very important example of the Rajju Sarpa, the rope and the snake, is being brought in as a starting point. So look at number 17 now. Anishchita yatha rajjuhu andhakare vikalpita sarpadharadi bhihi bhavaihi tadvat atma vikalpita. So he says that suppose you see a sort of a curvy nature of something on the ground, a curved form on the ground, and you're not sure what it is. Why is it? Because if it is completely dark, you won't know what it is. If it is completely lighted, you will know what it is. But if it is partial light and partial darkness, you're not sure what it is. So this is what is called andhakare. Andhakara means kind of like not complete darkness, but some light, enough for you to make a mistake. In that case, it is possible you don't know what it is. So you don't know what it is means anishchita. Nishchita means you know definitely. Anishchita means doubtful. You're not sure what it is. And because of that, your mind now projects a number of possibilities, such as sarpa, dhara, adibhihi bhavaihi. So dhara means a kind of maybe a watermark, or a hose, water hose, or it could be bhuchidra. Bhuchidra means sometimes you have some cracks in the ground. Number of things, you're not sure what it is. And by the way, and out of those, the thought that it might be a live snake is much more dangerous to your mind. Because here all these examples are given elsewhere, not here. One example is that, sometimes you throw your garland of flowers on the ground. That also becomes curved. No problems. It could be a garland. Or it could be a bhuchidra. It could be some kind of a crack in the ground. No problems. Or it could be a hose left over there. No problems. But if it reminds you that it might be a snake, then you have a fear, because the other things are inert, but the sarpa is alive. And you also know from your experience that the sarpa can really bite you, and some of them can kill you. So if that is the case, your mind becomes full of problems. But doesn't matter. All these cases create kalpana in your mind. What it is, I'm not quite sure of. So this is what the verse is saying. Anishchita yatha rajjuhu. Yatha rajjuhu means this rope is not ascertained properly andhakare vikalpitaha bhavaihi vikalpitaha. What kind of bhavaihi? Sarpadharadibihi bhavaihi. All kinds of things come into your mind. So why is this important to me? Why are you saying this? He says, this is your situation. Tadvat atma vikalpita. So, who are you? What is your real nature? What is your real nature? You are not completely unaware of that. So, like in the case of a rope in which there is complete darkness, then you'll have no thoughts about it. So similarly, if you as a person is like, for example, you are in deep sleep, you don't take yourself to be something. You are not aware of it. On the other hand, if you knew exactly what you are, there'll be no problems. But what happens is, just like looking at a form on the ground in which there is enough light to show there is something, not enough light to show exactly what it is, you have all kind of kalpana. Similarly, you now have all kinds of kalpana about yourself. And then you go to business. Now all kinds of things happen. You remember we saw this in the last class. Swami Maheshananji had given this beautiful example. Really a great example. And that is that there was this military guy with all the kind of medals on the chest. You're walking around and you sometimes wonder, it must be pretty heavy, all these, medals hanging in there and so on. So maybe imagine a sort of like a young person. A adult will not ask this question, but a youngster who's innocent and so on said, "Sir, how did you get all these medals? You got a lot of medals. How did you get them?" So the person would say, once I got promoted to be the chief of staff of the military, then everybody wanted to honor me. So before that nobody was looking at me, but now they will say, please come and we want to give you our club medal, our association medal. So this is what happens. All of a sudden, this is exactly what happened. These politicians, they may not have passed high school, but once they become an MP, then people are given, university gives them honorary degrees and this, that or the other. So Vedanta says, here's what happens. Somehow, along with your birth, you make a conclusion that I am a limited being. This is the start. This is what is called ahankara. Ahankara means the I thought. This is what is called Vijnanamaya Kosha, as we saw in last week's lecture discourse. Vijnanamaya Kosha means I am someone. Now, when you say I am someone, you cannot just say I am someone, because everything that happens to enhance that someoneness, it gives you a lot of data along with it. Who am I? I'm a male. I'm a female. I'm a baby, I'm Indian. All kinds of things now are piled up on top of that. And so this is what happens. In one very important thing to see, really, is we're going to do this a bit more detail in the Gita class, in the next class. But a lot of our attempts is to improve ourselves. These attempts to improve ourselves are not going to be successful for the following reason. So this is what is called the yogas, the meditations, to really become calmer and to be with myself. All over. Now that the senses of doing meditation and just being with mindfulness, this is the latest word, mindfulness. I'm not quite sure what people mean by it, but I think I can guess. All these attempts are really not good for the following reason. The reason is, your conclusion is, at the beginning of these attempts, that I am a limited human being. Ahankara. And as a limited human being, I want to have a spiritual experience. This is the basic fact about these attempts. That I'm a human being. Any doubt about it? No. Do you have any doubt? No. Everybody's all agreed? Yes. I'm a human being. But I am not satisfied by being just a small human being. I want to do some things, I can do some things, so I have a so-called spiritual experience. Not just the normal experience of eating ice cream and so on and so forth, but something more subtle, something more beautiful. And so then you go to the gurus, then you do all these kinds of things and so on, and you feel a little bit better. You feel, this is much better. This is much better. Instead of chasing the rat race of making companies and money and so on and so forth, I'm much more calm and so on. But regardless of all this, the basic structure is that I am a human being and I want to have a spiritual experience. So our Shastra says, you have it backwards. If I may say so, please think about it. You have it completely backwards. You are not a human being seeking a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being who is having a human experience. This is the thing. This is what we have to really do. You are not a human being. Even though we agree you think you are a human being, and we also take you to be a human being, you are in fact the same Atma, which is Paramatma. You are not just a wave in the ocean that is seeking the water experience. You are the water already, and you think you have a wave experience. So this is what happens. So as soon as you become born as a human being, your first your first thought, which is now which is supported by all your experiences, including your mom and dad, and your friends, and yourself, is that I am a limited human being. So this is like you become now a chief of staff. All these things now glom onto you. And so you're not completely happy with it either. You see, if you knew that you are a spiritual being, then you would not have these kinds of life's experiences. You'd have a different way of looking at it, and this is what we are asking you to take a look at it this way. But you're not doing it. So what you're doing is, you take yourself to be a human being, and you are trying to have a spiritual experience. And in doing so, this is what happens. Then the ahankara develops a mamakara. Then you think that you divide the world between mine and others. And my people are very important, even though they are not. But no, this is my child, my grandchild. Nothing should happen to my grandchild. And same thing, nothing should happen to my body. Nothing should happen to it. It should be all, and this is my happiness is totally devoted to my own body, mind, and my others' bodies and minds that are very close to me to be well. So this is the situation. And in doing so going back to the verse number 17, this is exactly like saying your mind plays havoc. Your mind comes up with all kinds of things. Is this a rope? Is this? It is that? And it's very natural. This is how the whole Shrishti of the Ishvara is made. Ishvara Shrishti, is just an amazing thing. Really amazing thing. So, for instance, if you were to just look at this, Swami Dayananji had really spent a lot of time explaining this to us very clearly. He says, look at the order of the Shrishti. The order of the Shrishti is that when you tell a lie, you don't feel good about it. The only person who completely changes that is Mr. Trump. He's not a human being. He's some strange person, really. This history will be written on it. Anyway, so Swamiji used to say that if you are supposed to do some work and you don't do it, you don't feel good about it. And if you do something completely, you feel good about it. This is the order. And everybody is expected to be happy. If someone is happy, you don't ask somebody, why are you so happy? But if someone is unhappy, you ask, why are you unhappy? So the natural order of the world is the Srishti, beautiful Srishti. We should recognize it. And so really speaking, what we have to do is to say that if I don't know, but I have doubts, before I complete that, I have doubts about myself. So going back to the very, the basic premise of the verse number 17. Verse number 17 says, if you know something partially, you are in trouble. Either you should know it, this is ignorance is bliss. Either you should not know yourself at all, or you should know yourself very well. This halfway through creates a problem. And I cannot know myself, and I cannot not know myself at all. Why? Because I am aware that I am. What I am is a problem. But the fact that I am is not an issue. I am some. But the fact of the matter is that just like if you don't know the rope to be a rope, it can create some imaginations in your mind. Similarly, if you don't know yourself exactly as you are, it creates doubts in your mind. Maybe I'm good, maybe I'm bad, maybe I'm in trouble, maybe I'm okay. What's going to happen to me? All these kinds of imaginations come in your mind. But he says that if you knew exactly what you are, then you will not have all these doubts. In fact, another way to, this is also very important, this is one of the tenets of Vedanta that one should be very clear about, really. And that is that the way Ishvara Srishti is the way how it's all created. That if you know the truth about things, you will be very happy. If you don't know the truth about things at all, you will not be either happy or unhappy, you will just be. If you know the truth partially, you're in trouble. And in fact, this is what happens. Because we have an easier way out not to know ourselves at all, we resort to it, unfortunately. And so, for example, when people stone themselves, this is what happens. This is what in our Shastra says that there is a basic Shruti, a tambura, which is always on in your mind. And that Shruti says, all is not well with me. All is not well with me. Some of it is well with me, but all is not well with me. I want to be completely happy. I want to be completely happy, but I am not. This is the Shruti which is going on. This is the Shruti which reflects the fact that you have a partial understanding about yourself. And this Shruti can be very unpleasant at times because it is disconcerting. You would rather feel I am completely happy. And what happens is that there are possibilities where you may feel you are completely happy for a short time. And as we have seen it, one of the most important ways this happens is eating food. So this is what is called alam buddhi. So alam buddhi means that I am okay, everything is fine. And as we have seen, I'm just bringing in some previous discussions we've had. I told you that there was a Swami in India that was a very educated person. And what he wanted to prove was that this alam buddhi, how long does it last? His conclusion was 15 minutes at the most. For 15 minutes you feel, that was a good meal. I'm happy. Do you want anything? No. You want to do anything? No. I'm very happy. And you're reading a book or you're watching television from the sense of complete satisfaction. 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, so this is exactly like, there is a basic Shruti in the background which says all is not well with me, all is not well with me. But for the time being when you're eating food, or you're listening to music, or other things also, or you're deep sleep, this Shruti gets drowned out. And there is another way to drown out the Shruti. To stone yourself. Drink a lot. And I guess hallucination drugs, or I have no idea what people do. But yes, this is the essence of the happy hour. In the happy hour, that Shruti is drowned out, and people like that because you don't like that Shruti reminding you, all is not well with me, all is not well with me. But you are not going to, you can drown it out temporarily. You can, because it's a very natural Shruti. Why is the natural Shruti? For what is verse number 17 saying? Anishchitaha Atma. You are not sure who I am. And you want to be sure about who I am. And you want to be sure that I am complete. Aham Purnaha. That is not known yet. So therefore, to complete this verse, it says, all these imaginations, whether this is a sarpa, whether this is a dhara, whether it is a bhuchidra, this is a mala, it could be this, are gone as soon as you understand this is nothing but a rajju. This is just a rope. All those just get sucked out of your mind. Those thoughts, then you can't even say, wow, how could I think this was this? You can't even recreate it. Gone. Exactly the same thing will happen when you have a clear idea of who you are. How that will happen, etc., is through Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. But once it becomes clear, then all of your doubts about who you are, all the imaginations and kalpana and fears and so on and so forth will get sucked out of your system. This is the message of the Karika that is being given. So let's go ahead with it now. So anishchita yatha rajjuhu andhakare vikalpita. So vikalpitaha means is imagined. Here Swami Paramarthananda has given is mistaken. Yeah, that's okay too, but a larger view of that will be that these are imagined. I'm this, I'm that. Then tadvat atma vikalpita. Then in number 18, just the reverse of that is given. Nishchitayam yatha rajvam vikalpah vinivartate rajjuhu eva iti cha advaitam tadvat atma vinishchaya. So he says, rajvam nishchitayam. When the rope is clearly ascertained that this is only this much, then all the vikalpaha vinivartate. They are sucked out, gone. You don't have to remove them one by one. I thought this was a mala. Is it a mala? No. You can't even visualize what you were thinking of before. And it is said in our Shastra that once your reality is known to you, then your samsara becomes an interesting set of events. It becomes, as Swami Paramarthananda also pointed out, it becomes one of these two. Once it is understood, then your experiences either appear to you like a drama or like a dream, this will happen. This is what we all have to strive to. That once you understand that I am taking this very seriously. This is what is sometimes pointed out. That suppose, sometimes they've said that these artists have a drink before they are performing. Because, their mind is a little anxious, they have got some butterflies in the stomach and so on. And so some of them drink. And I'm told that some of these people who sing songs also, etc., they also have a drink or two before they do that. We can imagine a person who is acting in a role in a drama, and he's had a couple of too many drinks. And now his sense of what is real, what is not real is kind of ruffled. So here's what happens. There is a script that you have to play. And you start in acting in the play, and you're somewhat inebriated. And you start to veer away from the script. And so the directors and all these producers say, "Hey, what are you doing? We're supposed to stick with it." And he says, then you feel this, I can do anything. There was this, I told you this very famous example that Swami Dayananji had given. He said that, so this guy in the play was a person who was being slapped by his boss. This is part of the play. And now on this day he's inebriated and he gets slapped by the boss. He slaps him right back. He's not in the play. He's supposed to say, "I'm sorry, I won't do this again," and so on and so forth. But he says, "Who is this guy to make me? He's really hurting me." So he also gives him a slap. So the whole thing is now gone. This is our situation. Don't think this is just a story. There is a play going on with very precisely written scripts, and I am supposed to play the role well. And if I do so, I will be well rewarded. But I blow it. Who is this person trying to criticize me? Who do you think he is? I'm going to show it to that person. Hey, don't show it to that person. It's okay, just look at it as critical. No! He has a habit of criticizing. I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to talk to him. Send him an email. Oh my gosh. Just play the role. Somebody criticizes you. Okay, just think about that. This is exactly our situation. We are not playing the roles well. Why do we not play the role well? Because a person who plays a role well in a play knows that this is just a role. And so if you are playing the role of a beggar, then you can be a rich actor playing the role of a very poor beggar. It doesn't bother you. But if you forget who you really are, or you don't know it, in this case it was forgetting, in our case we have never known who we are, then the role and the actor get mixed up. And we make a mess of things. So this is what verse number 18 is also saying. He says, Nischitayam yatha rajvam vikalpaha vinivartate rajjuhu eva iti cha advaitam tadvat atma vinischaya. Advaitam atma tadvinischaya. So I don't yet realize that I am neither a human being, or just say neither, forget about the neither. I'm not a human being at the mercy of the world. Neither am I at the mercy of the world, and because I'm not a human being, I'm someone other than that. Someone much more interesting, much more important. Just like when you give up the dream, something much more significant. Similarly here, I have to see I am someone much more significant. And that significance is what is pointed out in the Shastra. Turiyam. Na antah pragyam, na bahish pragyam, na ubhayatah pragyam. Na pragyanaganam, na pragyam, na apragyam. That I have to see. And that seeing might take a little while, because it is kind of like, I'm making a mess of this play because I'm not playing the role. I'm not understanding. I'm forgetting the script. And I made a mess of it, and the director pulled me aside and said, okay, we're going to go without you. Just sit down now. And it will take a while for the inebriation to go away, and then I will say, oh my God, I had no idea how foolishly I was acting. Unnecessary completely. It might take a little while for me to regain my non-drunkenness. In the case of the dream, it can happen suddenly. Alarm rings and the dream is gone. In this other case, it might take a little bit longer, but it will happen. It will happen. When that happens, Atma, Advayam, etc. So this is the sense of these verses. And in the next quite a few verses, how different people imagine what the human being is and can be is given. And some of our other schools of thoughts, our own schools of thought, other schools of thoughts are given. So I won't go into the details of each one of them, but you remember the sense of what the concept is. This is what the 17 and 18 are the beginning of that. And from this point on, I haven't studied all the other ones recently. I will do so, but then we will move much more rapidly, perhaps not even go into each one of them. But this is the sense of this chapter of the Karika, Vaithatya Prakaranam, which is to say that we come up with all kinds of silly ideas. Just like if we don't know the rope, we come up with all kinds of silly ideas. So similarly here also, silly in the sense that if it's a play, it's okay, but they don't really have any reality. And if we are serious then and deserving, then our sense of reality should be focused on. So that is how this karika goes. So with that I will close and do a quick prayer and then open up for any questions. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Putra Sukhina Sarve Santu Sinhamayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhaved Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Questions, any? Yeah.
So, you said full ignorance or full knowledge is bliss, right? But to get from descent to that end, you have to go through the partial knowledge, right? And you have to go through the path.
Yeah, I would think so, because the fact that we are born means we are already into the partial knowledge. So in that way, everybody is in a partial state anyway. It's kind of like the whole ocean is full of waves. Not all over the place, but there are plenty of waves, and each one of us represents the state of a wave. And if you are a wave, then the very fact that you are a wave means that you don't know you are water. Yeah.
So, in that sense, then the whole karma yoga and vipassana, they're all methods to help you deal with it.
Quite right.
Manage the situation until you can get to...
Yes, very much so. Yeah. So the Vedas have two main portions. One is sadhya, and one is sadhana, and the other one is sadhya. So the sadhana is the how to achieve, and sadhya is what is to be achieved. And even in the sadhya, which is Vedanta, there is a sadhana embedded in it. And so some of that sadhana is based on the karma sadhana, and some of them is based on jnana sadhana. So in jnana sadhana also it means how I don't quite get it. This is the jnana sadhana. So if I don't get it, then there are two ways of doing that. Either your basic instruments have not yet been tuned, in which case you have to do some more karma, or that they have been tuned, but you have to be more patient in in understanding the fact that vidya requires some time to go. And so Swami Dayananji also used to say there is nothing to be done, but there is something to be known. But in order for you to know something, something has to be done. In that sense. But the end point is not that something has to be done. Yeah. So, sorry, question?
Do you want to talk about
Yeah, I was just going to do that. As you know, Swami Viditatmananda ji will be coming in about a month's time. Less than a month actually now, 3 weeks. And so we could do a couple of things. As you know, his retreats and satsangas are really marvelous. I think his strongest point is really getting to know you and to have a discussion with you. So if you still have a chance to enroll in the retreat, please do so. That's one of the things. And also, if you can help in promoting Swamiji's visit to the general public. So we have these flyers that we have published. We have quite a few of them. So if you could kindly take some of them and help put them in the local Indian stores or wherever, really, that will be nice. So we have plenty of them here. So please come and get some of these and help us to put these posters up. We are going to have a person that delivers the India West, and so we have a contract with him. There's a larger version of this, 11 by 17, and if you want some of them, please. I have 50 of those and 250 of these, and so if you want, so going back to what this person has, we will ask him to do is wherever he delivers the India West, we'll pay him the money to put the 11 by 17. But that means only some of the prominent places. From last time also, he didn't put it up in all the places. So if there are some places that you can do it, so please help us out with that. Particularly temples. So you can just take a stack of these. We have enough, so you can take 25, 50 of them and put them in the local temples. That would be very good to do. So please do so. Thank you.